Hello friends, I'm back today to share with you another last 10 books that I read. I'm going to go ahead and just jump in. The first one was Brooklyn Monroe Wants It All by Karen Booth. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I don't remember the name of this series, but it's about older characters finding romance, which I enjoy that. And this one was okay. I feel like there was a lot of so Brooklyn is the main character, and she has decided that it's time for her to have a baby. She's got this successful business. The next step in her life is that she wants to have a baby. She ends up running, I think he was an ex that she ends up running back into. So it's a second chance, but there was just a lot of emphasis on having a baby, which is just not something I can relate to. And there was this whole like accidental thing that went out in her company's like mail list of, if you want to have a baby with her, call this number or email this number or whatever. And so like there was a lot of that, and then there was a lot of second chance romance, and then there was a lot of trying to have a baby, and it all felt like too much to me. So the next one was Donut Fall in Love by Jackie Lau. I am giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. So this is about a woman who owns a bakery, and a man, I think he was an actor. I want to say he was an actor. But they meet and they don't get off on the best of foots. They don't get off on the best foot. But he actually ends up getting signed on for this like celebrity baking show, and so he asks her to help him so that he's not totally unprepared for the show, which I felt like was cheating a little bit because he did say the point of the show was to not be good. But I really enjoyed their dynamic. I really enjoyed their romance. It was just all the other stuff. It seemed to be piled on to his side. She had, like, her mom was dating again. That's the only thing I remember that was really like drama in her life. But like his mother had passed away, so he was back home dealing with his grief, dealing with his dad's grief. His sister was pregnant. She was going through the grief of not having her mom there for her first baby. Like it was just a lot on one side, you know. I wish it had been a little bit more balanced out. Next was Beautifully Broken Redemption by Catherine Cowles. This is the newest book in her Sutter Lake series. This one is Anna and Mason. They come together for a marriage of convenience after her sister passes away, and Anna decides that she needs to fight for custody of her niece and nephew, because if she doesn't, they'll probably go to their grandparents, and the grandfather was very abusive when Anna and her sister were younger, and Mason has always kind of had a crush on her since they met, so he decides that he needs to be a white knight and step in and help her, and I just felt like maybe he should have let her do some things on her own. I felt like he was always there, kind of stepping on her toes and telling her what she should do, and then like if she wanted to do something else, he was always like really about it, you know. I didn't love him. I felt like they should have let her I felt like he should have let her stand on her own a bit more, instead of doing things or standing up for her and then like pretending that she did it herself. I don't know how to describe it. I just didn't love him. I love his cover model, but I don't love him. So that one was just okay to me. I gave it 3 stars. Next was Made in Manhattan by Lauren Lane. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. This is kind of a gender swapped My Fair Lady. character names. But the main female character, she kind of the adopted granddaughter to this wealthy older lady who owns this business. I forget what it was the business did. Um, but the wealthy older lady has just found out that she has a grandson she never knew about. So she, excuse me, she brings him from New Orleans to New York, where she's at, and introduces them. He introduces him to the main female character, and kind of enlists her help in showing him the ropes, showing him how New York society works, showing him how the company works, that kind of thing. Um, I really, really liked this. I wish it had been longer. That is ultimately why I gave it 3 stars. It's just because it was too short for me to really feel a connection between them. But I think had they had longer, had it been a longer book, I would have, like, it might have even been a 5 star. Like, it had so much potential. It was just too short to reach it. Next, the last book that I read in January was Her Wicked Marquess by Stacey Reed. I gave this 5 stars. It was so good. So this is Marianne, and she has accepted that she is a wallflower and that she doesn't necessarily want to get married. But her parents are kind of forcing her into an engagement with somebody that is her dad's age. So she kind of overhears this gossip about, or she reads it in a paper or something about Nicholas like sneaking out of a window at a party, and she's like, oh well, that was my window, and she tries to like ruin herself. I hate that word. But she tries to basically do that so that the man her father is like trying to sell her off to basically will cancel the engagement. But Nicholas has a lot of stuff going on the side. He is involved in this big elaborate scheme. So he goes to find out like who she is and why she's like saying like why she put herself in the middle of this, but she doesn't know any of the stuff that he's up to. And it was so sweet. Like he would, the first time he did it without permission, but he does ultimately get permission to like sneak into her bedroom, and they talk and play games, and I just loved that part of it. It was so sweet. And then there was a twist, but like I felt like the twist was really obvious of like the stuff that he was dealing with. I felt like it was pretty obvious, but I really, really liked this one. No, I think I still liked My Darling Duke a tad bit better, but this one, like, they're very close to each other. So, starting off February, I read Desert Heat by Elizabeth Reyes. I gave this one 3 stars. This is another one where I just didn't, like, it had potential, I just, something didn't click for me. So, this one is, I forget exactly how they meet, but he is a cop and she has this like past that she's trying to get away from. Ultimately it was a pacing issue for me. I think I really enjoyed them as a couple. I thought her secret was, you know, some I thought her secret was something, like not just something that she was blowing out of proportion, you know. I just ultimately felt like the pacing was off for me. Next was The Family You Make by Jill Chavez. This is a new series for her. I think it was called the Sunrise Cove series. I think it was called Sunrise Cove. It was something like that. So this one starts out with Levi and Jane, and they are at this like ski resort thing, but they get stuck on one of the gondolas in a really bad snowstorm. Basically the like gondola in front of them falls, and so they are very worried that they are going to die. So she doesn't really have any family to call, but he calls his mom, and I forget, something happens, and like Jane like makes a sound or something, and so he, excuse me, he like tells his mom that that's his new girlfriend and that he was with her, and that things weren't like, I don't even think he told them like how bad it could have been. But ultimately they are rescued. Um, and then I think it's like an anniversary dinner or something. She pretends to be his girlfriend to go, so it's a little bit of fake dating, but I adored this. There was a side couple though. There was her roommate and their neighbor. I wish that had gotten a tad bit more attention. That is why I only gave it 4 stars. I wish that had been a little bit more fleshed out, or they had gotten their own book. Because there was a lot of sexual tension between them, and that was over too soon. I liked it a lot. Next was Heavy Crown by Sophie Lark. This is the last in her Brutal Birthright series. I gave this some 3 stars. I don't know what happened in this book, or I don't know what happened with this book. I know what happened in it. So okay, so there's 2 characters, like there's the couple at the beginning, right? But they're kind of a fast, insta-lovey, falling for each other. Very naive, I felt like. And then they end up getting married, and something happens. I'm trying not to spoil this too much. They end up getting married, and something happens, and then it felt like 2 totally different characters. Like they were badass. They like, why weren't they this whole couple the whole book? Like I liked the ending much better than the beginning. The beginning of it, I just thought they were so naive. I thought they were naive and insta lovey and not really any chemistry. But the couple that they were at the end was so good. If they had been that couple throughout the whole thing, but yeah, I don't know. And then I have read 2 books in, I'm hoping that this is just the Montana Maverick series. I've read 2 books in this bind up anyway. First one was Against the Wall. This one is Sophie and Jake. Sophie comes to Montana to design and get approved this golf course, but Jake is the lawyer that is working for the Native American tribe that is opposing the development. This is another one that I felt could have benefited from being longer. I really enjoyed their dynamic, but the conflict and the resolution were both presented and solved pretty quickly. And then book 2 is Under the Covers. This one is Juliet and Quinn. Quinn is the sheriff. Juliet owns the like art studio. This is also one that I gave 4 stars. Like he's the sheriff, so she's obviously got to have some type of secret. It was another one where I felt like it was a reason to actually keep a secret. And it was like, it's so short. Like that's barely 200 pages, so she didn't really even have time to like process out wanting to tell him. But I enjoyed it. I wish it had been longer. But yeah, I did give it 4 stars. Okay, so that is the last 10 books that I read. If you read any of these, what did you think? What have you been reading? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.